Hi, this is Peter from the DJ Podcast. In this video, we're going to be looking at how to add text to your video mixes in Mixvibes Cross DJ 3. We're going to go up to the center top of the software, where right now we have the option for browsing a photo, but we're going to go ahead and click this little down button right here. Now we have the option to add our text. So we're going to go into this text box and then we're going to type in happy birthday. But now it's still not going to be displayed on the screen until we go ahead and click the button to the left, the big T icon. So we're going to click that and that will enable the text layer. Now this is a black text on a kind of light but also dark background, so it's very hard to see. So we're going to want to go ahead and adjust that. So to do that, we can go over to the right and click on the pencil icon. So now we have an editor where we can change some of the text properties. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is change the text color because this black is just not working for us. So we have this nice little color picker here. We're going to move it to maybe be a yellow, but we can also change the hue if we want something maybe like a bright green. We can also go ahead and change the size of the text, which could be nice if you have a short message, you might want it very large. But with a longer message, you might need to decrease the size so that everything fits on the screen. We also have the ability to change the opacity of the text layer, and that is this alpha option. So having it be all the way to the right will be a solid color, but we can turn it down if we want to overlay that image onto whatever is playing in the background. We also have the ability to move the text around. So we can see this 9 square grid where right now it is set to be centered, but we can go ahead and move it to a different portion of the screen simply by clicking on the grid. Next to this grid, we have 2 faders, and this will adjust whether the text layer stays in one place as sort of a static image or whether it moves. So the slider to the right adjusts whether the text will go up or down. And the farther that you push it away from the middle, the faster it will go. So if we pull it down just a tad, you can see that it is going down, and it's going at a reasonable pace. If we move it all the way down to the bottom, it's going to go faster than it was before. Likewise, if we move the vertical speed fader up, it's going to be moving towards the top of the video screen, and the farther that we move it up, the faster it goes. And if we want to stop it from moving, we can simply double click on the fader to return it to its default setting. Now let's look at the horizontal speed. So if we move it to the right, the text is going to go from left to right, and the farther that we move it to the right, the faster it will go. And if we move it to the left, you'll see that the text moves to the left, and the farther that we move the fader, the faster the text runs. Now because we have the horizontal and vertical control, we can also make the text go in diagonals. So if we move the fader on the bottom to the right and the fader on the side to the bottom, you'll see that we now have it going in a diagonal pattern. And we can have it go in whichever direction that we want. But for right now, we just want it to stay in the middle. So I'm going to double click on both the vertical and horizontal faders to have it return to the center. Finally, we also have the option of changing the font. So we can go to this bar up here on the top and change it to whatever kind of font we want. And this is all dependent on the fonts that you have installed on your computer. But these are not all of the options that Cross DJ gives us. There's actually an additional pane of options. And to view those, we can go ahead and click on this arrow on the right. This brings up 3 additional options that will allow us to change the way that the text looks. So the first is the style for the font. A lot of fonts have multiple styles, whether it be bold, italic, plain text, condensed, etc. So for Arial, we can see that right now it's set to plain, but we also have bold and italic, so you can change the way that the font looks depending on whether the font that you are using has one of these additional styles. You can also add an outline, and this has 2 options. The first is this outline knob, and with it all the way to the left, there's going to be no outline, but as we turn it to the right, you can see that it adds more of an outline. And then we have the option of adding a color to that outline. So right now it's just white, but if we wanted to, we could make it a color like red, or use this knob here to switch through the hues. You could also just make it black and have it be a little bit easier to read on that very light background. So that is an overview of how you can add text to your video mixes in Mixvibes Cross DJ 3. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified when new videos are posted. Thanks for watching.